Hello fans of Marvel Heroes, this is a follow-up video to the Melee Iron Man guide I've posted just a couple of days ago, and there have been quite a lot of feedback on the on that video in-game and out of the game as well. And yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised because Iron Man is one of the most popular heroes out there. Some of you are pretty disappointed that my Hulkbuster look a little bit tiny. Should be kind of bigger. So you know, I'm going to post some clips on him being bigger. That's easy. And the some we have a discussion on, you know, is it possible to layer some other powers onto the melee rotation I have? I'm going to address that as well. Legendary question as well as a range build. A lot of you ask, you know, is there a range build for Iron Man? I really like to play him as a range. So I figured out something. It is getting closer to the melee build, and I thought, you know, I'm very excited to share that with you, at least from a build perspective, all right? And last but not the least, I make some improvement to my melee build. Mainly it's more of the gear farming, and also some of the Omega I've changed a little bit from not too defensive into a little bit more offensive. And but that's about it. I mean, you know, the melee build I've got, I'm very comfortable with it, and I managed to change the team up as well, by the way. So that helps quite a fair bit to getting very close to the tier 1 heroes that I have. Alright, so let's just fix my 3 size up issue. Alright, Iron Man Hulkbuster versus Curse, and this is Sentinel affix. Wonderful, and let's see. Just keep my rotation up, let's keep hitting it, and yep, that's about it. Just keep tanking Curse. Come on, man, that's it, man. Come on, okay, done. So yeah, I mean the problem with the Iron Man, it doesn't have a lot of like burst damage up front or execute towards the end. So ooh, there's a low-key rune. But yeah, all right. So that is a 3 size up, or two size up almost. All right, Hulkbuster versus Kingpin, going in 1, 2, 3, 1 off, then that's it, right? So yeah, it's all right. So that is my almost 3 size up. Alright, I hope you have enjoyed some of those clips on a larger size Hulkbuster, and he does look great when he's pretty big. Alright, so another reason why I wanted to post some of this video is that I would like to address the fact that the Iron Man kill time may not look great on the Cosmic Boss scenario, because, you know, when it comes to Cosmic Boss scenario, you probably would like to pick a hero that has a lot of burst damage. For example, if you look at, say, Punisher's signature versus the one-off from Iron Man, you're looking at the I work out the number, right? From a DPS perspective, it's only about 56% of what Punisher can do at that burst damage, because Punisher has a big direct hit as well as the damage over time, and is a newer hero as well from a review perspective. Iron Man is still pretty old, and for melee build, the beams are not quite there, so I can't get the kind of like burst for like the one-off. But I believe even if you put in a lot of effort into gearing for one-off, I don't think you can be close to Punisher's signature. You're looking at 56% loss in DPS just for that window. So you know, signature plays a big part in those wonderful video that you see very short time, and also Iron Man doesn't have the execute like Punisher again, headshot, like Psylocke, like assassinate. So without the execute, it doesn't look good on video as well. Also, the whole Iron Man needs some ramp up. The gear that I've got actually needs some ramped up to get the +3 fighting on my slot 1. Last but not the least, the power cosmic that I picked for him is very much very steady itself. It's a sustained DPS gear. It doesn't have the kind of burst damage like the Gungnir. Gungnir make great video because, you know, when that rank 5 proc, you see a lot of big brutal number coming in, and that's why the boss health going down quick. So all in all, Iron Man melee build is not really a burst damage build, but it's sustained damage. I time it with all my top tier hero. It's actually comparable. Now, consider the fact that it is a power cosmic and the melee, I would think that his kill time should be far exceeding some of my range hero tier 1, but it is not. So as I said in the previous video, Iron Man still needs some review going on. I think it's still underpowered. Alright, but yes, melee or non-melee. Alright, so that is that is just to address some of this comment on the kill time for Iron Man, but you have to take my word for it. For sustained damage, he's actually doing pretty alright. Some would ask, like, why not add Coolant Blast into his rotation? I've tried that. So I took some of this. I took out some of this toggle and tried that as well. The reality is that it doesn't increase it doesn't sort of like decrease the kill time. That's number one. The number two is that it becomes very hard to manage all this hotbar. I have to constantly looking at my hotbar. I can't play the game at all because there's so many things that are going on. Like the Death from Above has like a 8-second cooldown. Then after that, the Jericho, I have to make sure that I have to apply on the 4th second, not the 3rd second when its cooldown is off. And then after that, the missile have to apply every 3 seconds. And now after that, I have to coolant blast as well every 6 seconds. So it becomes very, very clunky when I play it. I can't get my kill time going down anyway with coolant blast. So if you could, that's great. But I wouldn't want to just mess up my whole beautiful, simple to play melee build for something that may not even improve my kill time. All right, so that addressed the build itself. Also, the legendary, I've got another video on more in-depth study on his legendary. For grade 70 is Power Cosmic. For grade 80, it has to be the crystal, because the 300 spirit or suit power will convert it into 900 damage rating, so that is no brainer. All right, so the next bit is on the range build, because I think some of you are interested to look at range build, and I thought I put up something for a range build for you. All right, in this part of the video, we're going to talk about the ranged Iron Man, and like I mentioned before, I managed to get his kill time pretty close to the melee one. It's still off by about 10%. 10% could mean a lot to some. So instead of killing Curse in maybe 15 seconds, you add another 1.5 seconds. All right. So, but range could be fun in some way. I prefer the melee, but I made this range mainly for those who requested for it. Okay. Just to recap, my build for the melee is this one. Sorry, my build for the melee is this one. So there's no change to my build on the melee, but this video is not about the melee build anymore. Check out the other video for melee build. So for the range build, okay, so the range build very much, the micro missile is something that you have to get anyway. I use the Risk Rocket. Risk Rocket is not that high in DPS, but it has a direct damage as well as damage over time component to it. But the damage over time is kind of tiny, really tiny. I thought the Loki's one is bad, but anyway, so yeah, one of those examples that this kind of hero is just so behind the curve from the others. Then you have the Missile Salvo, which is my main DPS. It's less damage than the Punch, of course, from melee, but it's still better than the Beam if you look at the raw power itself. But in order to make it happen, you have to the target has to be burned. Right, so to burn a target, you have to have Jericho Bombardment, which is one of those. I really hope that Gazillion could reduce the animation of Jericho Bombardment to like half a second or even less, because right now it's just such a long animation for the Jericho Bombardment. That's unnecessary. The power itself is quite crap as well. The only thing I go for is the burn and the vulnerability debuff. All right, then I have 1 point here for the life support system. So, okay, forget about this one first. I like Traveling Power, so I have that one. Then I have 1 point in here, no point in putting too many, to this guy. I just want a little bit of protection. Then one off, of course, is you max it. So after that, I've got nothing else to do, because as a range build, if you go for the attack gadget, basically that is all that you need, all right? You could have the Coolant Blast, but the problem with Coolant Blast is that it has quite a medium, like a range to it. So if you have to get so close to the mob to do range damage, so why not you do melee, right? The whole idea of doing range is to stay away from all the crap that is going on, at the scene. So I couldn't work Coolant Blast into it. I suppose it could help in terms of the whole DPS, but again, it becomes very hard to manage because too many things going on. So at the end, I have this one instead. This one doesn't do much. it just you can refuse your spirit or soup power more often, and for those mobs that happens to be around you, they get like a higher kind of like a bird, kind of damage to them. But you don't really need to have this one maxed out. I don't even know what else to put in for range build if you are into Tech Gadget and not into Coolant Blast, because Coolant Blast really have to be quite close to the action. So as for the rotation, it's very simple. So you have to put the Jericho in. So your priority is this, right? Your priority is always Jericho, but you reapply every 4 seconds when the vulnerability debuff comes off. All right, so it is not every 3 seconds because that would be just too long. You pay too much for the animation. Around 4 to 5 seconds. So your priority is not too much on the Jericho itself. Just make sure that it's one there. Your priority should be on the missile, the micro missile. Whenever it come off, just do it. As for the wrist rocket, you don't need to do it all the time, because the damage over time run for 5 seconds. And has a 4 second cooldown. So you can afford to wait for the 1 second to come off the cooldown to do it. So you wait 1 second here, 1 second here, and that's fine. So as for the rest, you just do what's necessary for one off. All right. So land the Jericho, land the missile, and then land the wrist rocket. So one off. Then by the time the always prioritize use the missile first before Jericho. So wrist rocket, if it's off, then you do. So I mean, that is basically the thing that you do when it comes to playing Iron Man. And of course, don't forget your overload to just get your soup power back. All right. So it's very simple. I've tested on the field. It's all right. I mean, it doesn't kill as fast as the melee build. That's why I'm not too excited to post any video on that, because because I usually go for the build that do the best damage, because although we have a lot of build options, but I respect the fact that some of you may be interested in playing range because you envisage your hero as the range hero and so on. Oh, by the way, totally forgot something really important. So from the gear perspective, now that we talk about build, so I put back some gear first. From the gear perspective, if you recall, my melee is actually this set of gear. For the ranged physical, you have to change the gear, right? So the first thing you change is this one here. You use the Hulkbuster play instead of the Euro infused armor. So because it gives you the kind of like a flat damage and so on. Because the other one is more for melee, so you change this one, all right? Then as for the you have to use checkbook instead of the Extremist Undersheath. Because that has the Tech Gadget plus all the Tech Gadget there, it helps. You don't need the defense system, so use that one as well. And then last but not least, okay, so you don't have Overseer, and sorry, you plan to play ranged, and you don't have the Shocker one, because Shocker one is actually better than this big ass shot, because it's actually very comparable. If you look at the Shocker's stats as well, Shocker's unique versus the big ass sword. The only difference is the extra +1 power. So of course that will scale up your damage quite by 2%. All right, around 2%. So it's not going to close the gap to the melee, but at least it's closer if you want to play the range build. So I will use this one for the range build. All right. So and that I mean, basically that's all the gear that I change. The rest of the gear I just maintain as it is. There's no change to it. So just 3 unique that I change. And if you have Shocker for the slot one, go for Shocker. If not, then the big ass sword is something that you should consider. Now, then you question why I don't do an energy beam kind of thing. Because I still prefer to play my Iron Man as melee, and I'm more geared towards the physical get damage side. So the energy wouldn't work too well for me, and especially I can't dual spec the Omega system as well, and which is a shame, because I would have totally bought this guy if I could if I could have a different spec of Omega system. All right, so that is just the range build. I hope that helped in some way for some of you. And as for the Omega system, like I mentioned, I've changed some of my gear. Okay, I've upgraded some of my gear from melee, but I also changed a little bit on the Omega. So nothing much changed in the spin tag. This part also hasn't changed much. The only thing I changed that I've taken out this one. I don't do this one anymore. This was just Palm Dumper. Instead, I have invested this one instead. Now, okay, I know I'm kind of like always against having this note, but I realized something, right? I realized that the cost of gaining the health versus the cost of gaining the health in, say, either this note here, right? So I can gain health in this note, or I can gain health in the blob as well, right? Blob as well. It works out roughly the same. So I said, well, okay, maybe I don't need to be too aggressive on my health, because even 20, I think if I put back my melee gear is higher, then I probably can pick this guy up for the one size up, because a lot of people want to see my Hulkbuster to have a bigger size. So yeah, I mean, the only change for my entire build is I shift the one from blob. I don't take blob anymore. I take this one to have the size increase. It works out roughly the same. I don't really get as much blob as possible as I could. But I then have then I put like 1 point here just to grow in size when I use a melee, because I can't use the crystal for my. I mean the there's one that is for physical artifact that you could increase the size. I can't reuse that because it's not optimal. All right, so the rest of the Omega tree is roughly the same. Oh yeah, I picked this one as well because I realized that I forgot early on. But because I use a range as well, I mean I do have range power like Jericho, like the missile and so on. So I can actually get 5 stacks of that, and that's also one of the reasons why the Iron Man sustained damage is great, but it doesn't look great on the whole video, because I don't have all these things. That these things need time to stack up, as well as the Overseer +3 strength also need time to actually step up. So yeah, I mean the rest of it looks exactly the same like I posted before. So just a minor update on the Omega. Thought I'd let you know. All right, so I think with that is all my contribution to Iron Man. As always, feel free to comment and so on, and I'll try my best to fulfill your request and answer your queries. So okay, till next time we meet, have a great day. Bye.